Woohoo! Welcome back to Hex Token channel, folks. Your host Superman in the house. So great to see everybody in the chat there, and we're gonna have a fun little look at stablecoins on PulseChain. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. Let me know how the audio is going, and let's get straight into it. If you're new to the channel, of course, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, hit the bell, all that good stuff, and jump into Discord if you haven't joined. Link is in the video description. So very cool. Let's get back into it. We've got a few comments in there. I'm just going to set up a live chat and welcome everybody in. So we're going to look at this beastie boy there. So the title of the video is the importance of quality native stablecoins on PulseChain to pump DeFi, a critical component of PulseChain. And of course, we're going to spotlight on USDL being the native stablecoin. And I talk about what else might be in store as well briefly at the end. We're going to have a say hello, everybody. We've got Bluegrass in the house there, early and ready. Yeah, Bluegrass was in nice and early. Nice to see you, Bluegrass. We got Sam has to go because it's got turned in for the night. Good to see Sam in the chat as well. Was here during the first live stream earlier today. Tail7 in the house there, Liquid Loans has the best team ever. I agree, Tail7. It really is strong, and it's great to have that sort of professionalism and expertise in the PulseChain community. The CJ's in the house as well. What's up, peeps? And Crypto Maniac, hello. Hey, CM. CM also developing his own user interface as well. So we'll probably end up talking about that at some stage in the future. Crypto Maniac. KD in the house there. Hey, all. Good to see you, KD. And we got the bread and the loaf of bread and the ducks. And Just Ask Jesse's in the house from Liquid Loans. Just when we're talking about Liquid Loans, yeah. And we get the stable coin king in the house. Just Ask Jesse. It's always a pleasure to have Jesse in the house there. Is that his outfit he's wearing? Is that Jesse's outfit there? Is that what Aquaman's stolen? But I like the theme of Aquaman for Liquid Loans, given that's liquid, and this is water, right? This is water. Who else to be in the house for that? So very cool. I thought we were going to have Amber Heard in there this time. Hope you can appreciate that. Someone was complaining about the last time we talked about Liquid Loans, and we had no Amber Heard on there. We got Amber Heard there as well. So cool. All fun in the sun, as it were. So we're going to get into it, folks. We've got a few people in the house, so we'll probably have a few more coming in. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Let's get into it. So the importance of quality native stablecoins on PulseChain to pump DeFi cannot be understated. And so when I'm using the term DeFi, I'm really using it quite broadly over the whole ecosystem. Very fundamental. And of course, having not just stable coins, but a native stablecoin, maybe one, maybe two, would be really powerful. So we're going to get into that. Let's go. We'll try not to go too fast through this. We've got a few house there. I'm going to take the comment off the chat there just to make sure I keep the comments off. Okay, we've got the first one here. We've got stablecoins. Bam! What do stablecoins offer? Well, not generally what I'd call a medium exchange in DeFi, although that does have some component of that. But really, stablecoin offer utility for people. We're going to look at a couple of utility features of stablecoins in crypto. So I think that's probably where I'd put the use case there. We've got two types, of course. We've got custodial type of stable coins, and we've got non-custodial type of stable coins. Yeah, we do. And of course, we're going to get into what those mean. So we've got custodial coins, kind of, these definitions can be changeable, of course, and flexible, but they give us just a good starting point. Basically, custodial is where you can issue and redeem off-chain assets and have an issue against the claimer there. It's one form of definition of custodial, where you can issue and redeem off-chain assets, and of course that would be like real fiat currency, something like that, to back up the crypto that you're using, for example, as a stable coin. We'll get into what those are coming up. The other one, of course, is you'll be able to claim against the issuer for that as well. The other one, of course, is for non-custodial, is typically a lot of these have minting and burning an on-chain asset, but that's not always the case. But a lot of the time they have minting or burning on-chain assets there. So we'll talk about that too. So let's have a look at some of the types that we're going to have in there. Under custodial, we've got commercial bank, of course. And of course, underneath that, we've got different types. We've got ones that you'll know, USD Tether, USDC, a TUSD, a PUSD, GUSD, Paxos, and things like that. And of course, I've got a couple of asterisks here next to some of these as ones that have been partnered with exchanges. And why is that important? We're going to look at that in our last slide, but pretty much They have, like a Coinbase and things like that have worked with Circle and the Center organization to make all this happen. And it does bode well for the strength of their exchanges. And so too would, native stablecoin for PulseChain. So I think that's really, really powerful. And of course, they also have monthly reports on that, on the USDC, with about, gives a bit of transparency and support and confidence in behind that stablecoin. So real credibility in behind the stablecoin, having that sort of transparency and backing of the actual asset with its fiat counterpart. So I think that's pretty important there. And of course, the redemption aspect as well. So I think that's pretty powerful. We've got those ones there. We've got USD Tether. USD Tether's had a lot of criticism about it, obviously, with regards to how much the packing they actually have. Have they always done, certain things the right way? I'll just put it that way. And activities like that. So there's quite a few on there in the house there for those commercial bank ones. We've got central bank ones. And of course, some of these can be a little bit terrifying. We've got a couple of issuant projects there for that. But of course, there's lots of stuff happening in that space. And of course, some of it can be used, particularly if it's programmable in the future. It may not be a good idea. We certainly want to resist those sort of things. Endogenous collaterals, of course. And of course, here we are. I've got a couple here. We've got UST there, which kind of the highlight there with the Terra Luna and UST fiasco in early May there, around about 7th, 8th of May, somewhere in that ballpark. We had that happen. And of course, that design really got showed up. So this design, endogenous, in other words, that the Luna token and the UST stablecoin are both within the same platform, the same ecosystem with a mint and burn function there. So that there got shown up when the market cap got flipped and the shenanigans went on and to help to make that happen, where there wasn't really enough UST to be redeemed back to Luna, and therefore the market really did a run on that one. And of course, there's lots of stuff around that. But that there really showed you the endogenous system has really got a lot of issues with it. And every time there's a test on either an attack, particularly on that ecosystem, or on a wider, broader market with maybe some sort of black swan event, these endogenous type of models get under a lot of pressure, and often, like USD Tether there, fail. So that's pretty one there. We've also got exogenous. In other words, the stable coin is backed by a collateral asset that's outside the system, is the other way of going. And of course, I think this is a far superior way. And of course, in this one, we've got, DAI, FAI, FAX, LUSD. And of course, that last one there, LUSD is, the LUSD there one works very well on Ethereum there. And of course, that is what Liquid Loans is forked there. So I think that's pretty cool. We're going to have a look into this. This is where we're going to look into this LUSD, see how that's been performing, because these exogenous ones are pretty much performed a lot better. In fact, very well indeed. So this model clearly seems pretty good. One on the right, and of course the central bank ones there on the left also perform pretty well. I think there's problems with both of the two in the middle, and so a lot of issues around that from central bank point of view, and the endogenous collateral ones. Obviously, there's algorithmic ones as well that don't actually have any collateral, and though I think those are really, really a lot of issues with those in particular. I think a stable coin should always have some sort of asset backing to it, whether it's fiat, whether it's gold, silver, or something, or whether it's another crypto asset. But of course, in the crypto assets, they're exogenous. In other words, outside of the platform itself, and not within the platform like Terra Luna and UST was. So that's pretty a summary there. And of course, we've got USDL is going to be on PulseChain. So I think we're very lucky indeed that's the case. Now, obviously, everything that's on Ethereum is going to get copied over with PulseChain. So arguably LUSD will be there, and of course, arguably that could end up being a competitor potentially to USDL. But USDL has quite the head start on many fronts there, including social media, the user interface, and a lot of extra developments around it. So it's going to be fascinating to see that. But competition always comes into the play, and we may or may not see that. We may or may not see that from the Liquidity team, but this is something to think about there. The other thing, of course, is Heart Stable. Rich has talked about a stable coin before. Obviously, that was particularly around when he was doing his exchange. Obviously, he's had a lot of issues with trying to get the exchange up and running. I think he was trying to get a license through Spain originally. And of course, he's talked about Heart Stable being around, has a final preference has typically been fiat based. So that's why I've allocated it over here to the commercial bank in terms of fiat based. Now, in terms of the valuation of LUSD at the moment in the market and the amount of stable coins that were sacrificed, he could help start to set something like that up. Obviously, you need commercial arrangements to do that. It's a bit more, you're more regulated in a more regulated environment, or quasi-regulated, I would call it, environment in that space. So that's some of the things there that we've got potentially we could have on PulseChain as native tokens there, and I think that's pretty cool. So it's native for the Heart Stable there. Who knows what will happen, but USDL is definitely native to PulseChain. So I think that's pretty cool summary there of the ones, and I think we're going to have the better models for stable coins as well with those two. So we're going to move on to the next one. We've got obviously. If we look at this total stable coin market at the moment, so this is a snapshot from today. This data is based on CoinGecko, and you just have to filter for stables. We can see that we've got a couple of things going, and we've got USD Tether there at $72.8 billion of valuation. We've got USDC at 54, BUSD at 18.1, DAI at 16.5 billion. Frax at 1.5 billion, and a True USD at 1.3 billion, and then all the others sitting there at 6.7 billion, and that includes LUSD, the stablecoin for Liquidity, which Liquid Loans has forked with their and going to have their equivalent LUSD token on PulseChain. So we can see that the big players really are USDT, USDC. So if we go to that first table, really the commercial banks, as it were. And of course, that means that they've got a redeem function to them, but they're supposed to be backed one-to-one by the fiat currency. So that's pretty important there. We've got DAI as well, make a DAI, and of course backed by something like 22, I think, different types of crypto, but primarily I think Ethereum, Bitcoin, and things like that. So, or wrap Bitcoin. So those are really important. Then we see they dominate the marketplace, and of course when PulseChain has the system state fork. These are going to get copied over as PRC 20s for the ones that are Ethereum based, and of course we don't know really what the value of those are going to be. Obviously USD Circle and stuff like that custodial, and they are not backed one-to-one arguably, and so those are going to be a big question mark over those, and whether they actually end up getting supported, things like that, because obviously you got to typically dock some stable coins before you get issued those coins, so instead of the other way around. So we'll see how those goes. DAO on the other hand might be a bit more interesting. It seems as adoption, they could be something that definitely comes over faster over to the platform of PulseChain. But in any case, we will have the official PulseChain bridge to bridge over stable coins, and principally those will be used as stable coins. But that said, of course, we've got Liquid Loans in any case with their stablecoin USDL being a native stable, and that I feel is going to flourish on the PulseChain. And we could see a lot of the dominant trading pairs end up in Pulse and USDL, as well as principal liquidity and trading pairs. So it could actually flourish and grow into many different projects. So watch out for that. Obviously, with Uniswap version 2, you can route through any pairs essentially. So I think it bodes well for USDL use across the network. Obviously, you can USDL is pretty powerful. So we're going to look at that in a second. Before we do that, we're going to jump over to Liquidity USDL. So within that 6.7 billion there, we've got Liquidity LUSD that's currently valued at 332 million. So just compare that to the rest of them. I happen to feel that back when it started, it actually was valued at a couple of $1 billion, by the way, LUSD. So there were some big players in there, and there were some rumors about who those were. But in any case, at the moment, the 332 million. I have a feeling that on PulseChain, the Liquid Loans version is going to eclipse these kind of values. So I suspect that because it's launching pretty much just after PulseChain launches, it's going to have a pivotal effect, pivotal role on PulseChain, and valuations of USDL could be absolutely phenomenal over time. obviously it has to ramp up to those sort of values, but I think it's going pretty neat. Now we saw our Liquidity USD price chart. How does that perform? So we know that that's kind of the model that's going to be the basis there, an exogenous backed collateral for USDL, and of course it's based on the fork of LUSD. We can actually see based on this CoinGecko chart, which is not a perfect representation, particularly at the beginning, because of the pools that it was pulling from. I don't believe it was pulling from the curve pool at the time, which is where the better data is. We're going to look at that in a second. We can see that it had obviously a bit of volatility at the beginning. Once again, this data is not pure on the CoinGecko, and of course, as time went over, we ended up getting to this $1 mark. So you can see the $1 mark where my mouse is over the time, and it's actually performed pretty well even on the CoinGecko data. Obviously, it's had some highs and lows based on their data, but their data is not perfectly good over the all, but it does give you a good indication of that. So that's where the stable coin has been. We're going to jump over to have a look at some core data here with the curve data, and of course we've got AUSD stable versus USDC here as the ratio, and we can actually see straight line, that yellow line is $1 there. So sorry, I lost that there. Let me pull it up. So the yellow line there is the $1 peg. And of course, you want your stable coin to be able to peg to a dollar really efficiently and effectively. It's very, very important. So that's really cool. Let me just, I've got to pull something else in here. Just let me quickly pull it. I'll have to pull it in last, I think. Let me just pull this in. Make sure that I've got it set up here. Pull it in. Yeah, I've got that there, so I can pull that in just a moment. We're going to come up to that. So we've got this $1 peg here. You can see that it's actually been performed pretty well against the USDC. So AUSD versus USDC, excuse me, performed pretty well. We can see that here at the top when it gets away from $1, it's at $1.006. And that's kind of where it gets up to $1.001. This has got a long time frame all the way from June last year, because when it launched, I think it was launched about April, May, somewhere in that April or March, April, May, somewhere in there. I think March, April. I think it was March actually that it launched. So somewhere in there, and of course it's actually pegged pretty well to the $1 mark. And of course you can see that down here, this is 99 cents where my mouse is here. So it's actually performed really, really well based on this ratio to USDC coin. But we're going to get even better comparison. So when we looked at the CoinGecko data, we had to look at that sort of rough data to look at the line. It looked pretty good around the dollar most of the time. This here gives you a parity to USDC Circle coin, and of course that's that fiat back one. So we're comparing this exogenous collateralized one versus the fiat back one. And of course we can see that it actually performs pretty well versus Circle. And so this is what we want. We're in a really powerful stable coin that's going to perform really well on PulseChain that people have high confidence in, and that has good collateral. And I think that bodes well. The forking of Liquidity is going to do well for us there. Now we've got a better chart here. This compares not only to USDC but also to DAI, USDC and USDT, and of course based on the curve data here. So the LUSD versus 3 CRB swaps on curve, and of course there's the 100-day chart here. So it goes back to February. And we can see that it's performed pretty well versus all these stable coins. This is going to bode well, folks. I mean, I think we're really lucky to have liquid lines, not only forking at Liquidity, but doing it in such a professional manner and adding on a lot of extras on in terms of utility into the system. And so I'm really excited to see what they do. Now we come up to May here, and we can see that when we had the Luna fiasco, I think it was around about the 7th of May, somewhere in that ballpark there, we actually, Liquidity, the LUSD stablecoin for Liquidity actually performed really well. You can see that you've got the LUSD tether here in the gray, so that's the top part there, and you've got the LUSD versus DAI and USD Circle here on the bottom stuff here. But it actually performed really well. We didn't actually really depart too much from $1.02 under that sort of thing. So actually did really well. Kind of fell in the middle of these two. So I think it's pretty of these three. Sorry. So and obviously outperformed USD tether there as well. So I think that was pretty good. And then obviously over time these have moved slightly above $1. So obviously with slightly more demand on the stablecoin. So I think that's really, really positive with such a big event like that, with the Terra Luna UST under pressure, and how the others perform. Now we know USD Circle actually performed better, and USD Tether started to depart from $1 peg, and so I think that's pretty powerful there. So we've got a really good quality native token coming onto PulseChain. This is really bullish for PulseChain, and not only that, but it's exogenously based. In other words, based on an asset that's outside of the Liquid Lines platform, just like Ethereum, which is backed. LUSD is outside of that platform, so a really big deal there. And you can see how it's performing under these circumstances really, really well, and over the long period of time, the longitudinal time, as well as the event like Terra Luna. So pretty cool there. So let's have a look at the next slide here. We've got stablecoins on PulseChain. So we're going to wrap it up here. It's really just a quick look or spotlight on Liquid Lines in particular. But we've got blockchain marketing. With the blockchain, we need to have not only good marketing, but we need to have a stablecoin that facilitates that. That shows the blockchain has strength to it. It has a native stablecoin, which is fundamental to DeFi these days. And of course, it is also good for marketing, right? People will be attracted to a chain that has strong stablecoin, and for multiple reasons, which we're going to look into. So we've got USDL, and of course, what it is. So it's over collateralized, quality asset redemption, stability pool stabilizer, and of course the TCR 150% mechanism recovery and arbitrage. These are the things that help to keep it to peg. They're like peg mechanisms, keep it pegged to $1, and so really, really powerful. So we're going to pull in just a quick video of Jesse, actually, who's back in the house. So we're going to just pull up a little video that Jesse did a little while ago on Liquid Lines, and it's a couple minutes long. So let's watch this one.
It goes much deeper than that. Every single USDL that's ever minted by a borrower is fully redeemable. It's because it's backed by Pulse when it's first created. It's also redeemable back for $1 worth of Pulse at any time. So what that means is all of the USDL that's ever out there has the full liquidity, the full backing for you to be able to exchange it back for Pulse at any time. I can explain how that mechanism works. It's also the same mechanism that helps them peg the price so quickly back to $1 via arbitrage. You'll see that USDC will lose its peg when Ethereum drops in value 20 or 30%, and it'll usually lose its peg. It'll drop to like 92 cents, sometimes even as low as 75 cents, and it'll stay there for many, many hours. Yep. But with USDL, you have this thing called direct redemption, which actually makes it so that when the markets fall drastically, very fast, and USDL comes down with it because of Hart's law, it's almost instant. The community brings the peg back to $1, and the way that works, and it's the same reason that there's infinite liquidity for every USDL that's in existence. If you have Pulse, if you have USDL, you can go straight into the DApp and you can click this little button called redeem. You type how many USDL that you have. It will then look at the lowest collateralized vault. It will take your USDL, burn it, take out of the lowest collateralized vault the equivalent dollar value of Pulse, and then eliminate that same dollar value worth of debt from the lowest collateralized vault. In some instances, closing the debt and saving the lowest collateralized vault from a liquidation event. Right? So if there's a huge market tank in the price of Pulse, you'll have some vaults that are near the liquidation point, 110 whatever percent. But then the moment somebody redeems their Pulse against that vault, that guy was just saved from liquidation. He kept his 10% overhead that he would have otherwise left or lost had his account been liquidated. Similarly, if USDL starts to lose its peg, Pulse comes down in price So USDL comes down in price in the liquidity pools. People are able to go purchase Pulse out of those liquidity pools and then redeem them at face value, $1 worth of Pulse for each one of them, directly inside the protocol. Which because people are buying it out of the liquidity pools, it basically buys the price back up, fixes those ratios, pegs it back to $1, and it also saves the lowest level collateralized vaults from liquidation.
Yeah.
So there you have it. You heard it from Jesse himself. Who better to explain it but the stablecoin king himself? So I think that's a pretty good summary of some of the mechanisms there that are going to peg the USDL. And of course, you could see it in the data that we had before with Liquidity, how well that's performed over time. So I think it's going to be super, super good. Now, obviously, we've got other few. We could possibly have a hard stable. Talk about that. Richard's kind of indicated fiat back was his preference. Now, obviously, having the best of both worlds would be pretty cool. We may or may not see this, so it's possible. But of course, Richard hasn't had the easiest time at the exchange. Last time he gave us updated about that, and of course, commercial arrangements to get things set up for this sort of thing. So we'll see. Well, it's just a question mark on that one in the future. But of course, anything like that might actually add quite a nice complementary support to the ecosystem. So we'll watch out for that. Big question mark there. The other thing, of course, is the others. Of course, we talked about that. Obviously, bridging over stable coins that are actually backed, particularly the fiat-backed ones, probably bode pretty well for the liquidity pool, especially with Uniswap, with the routing and everything else. It all will flood through the US dollar values, which we're expecting. The custodial ones getting supported. Big question mark over those. Of course, the PRC versions. We'll see how those behave as well. So very cool. The other thing, of course, exchanges marketing. Getting anything like USDL on exchanges and stuff like that bodes super well for attracting funds into PulseChain and vice versa. So I think it's going to be really, really big for the exchanges and marketing, not just for the blockchain itself. So I think that's pretty double-edged there. Also, ultimately, it supports DeFi and gateway as well, particularly via exchanges where you can do a fiat on-ramp via exchanges and then potentially trade that into USDL and into trading pairs on PulseChain or thereabouts. So I think that's going to be pretty powerful as well. But DeFi fundamentally needs a stable coin, and particularly native ones that flourish on PulseChain. And of course, this way we're not reliant on other stablecoin custodials to come and play on PulseChain. We actually have one ourselves, and one that pegs very well, as we can see by the base of Liquidity as well. So I think it's going to be super, super good. And I want to draw a lot more attention to this because probably under appreciated. Yet it's probably one of the strongest things in PulseChain is coming up with liquid lines in the stablecoin there. The other thing, of course, is risk management. People, if they are worried about volatility or bear market, they want to swap their crypto into stable coins. And of course, this is one of the ways that they can do that. And of course, that also keeps funds in the system as well on the blockchain, rather than bridging stuff out of the chain. It also keeps stablecoin value in the chain. And then that once the people are happy with their risk management and maybe opportunities turn in a reversal, they can actually redeploy those stable coins back into the cryptos as well. So really, really powerful, not only from risk management, but also obviously for DeFi value. So pretty exciting. And of course, exchanges and gateways, fiat on-ramps. So it's exciting stuff, folks. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Just a quick cover, focusing on the importance of stable coins on PulseChain, and of course the role that liquid loans and USDL is going to have as well. Now, if you want more information, of course, definitely check out Jesse's live feeds, YouTube, and of course Liquid Lines as well. They've got tons and tons of information if you want to get further stuff there. Very cool. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Now I will post the video, the link to the video, the presentation, the video description afterwards, so you can check that out as well. So cool. So there we are, folks. That is the stuff there. I just realized I probably missed the last couple here, but that is the last couple of points that I just made. So cool. Let us jump back as well. We're going to have a look here at the Richard Hart. So Richard Hart's got a few updates as well. So we're going to move on to that part. Richard Hart just posted a second video here. Get me a monster truck, he said. Iceland part 2. So we're going to check that out. Before we do that, we'll jump into some of the comments and see what's been going on there. Let's have a look here. So we've got Bob Wells in house. Hello, family. Good to see Bob. Awesome. Jesse is here. I've had a question in my head for him. Nice, Bob. And I've got a couple of other things going there. Dave Down Under says, congratulations, retail, including myself, pulling Hex price up a bit. Yeah, we're going to look at that too. That's our third topic, is looking at the Hex price. It has on just a little tiny little itty baby little bounce at the moment, but retail's doing it. Retail's doing the job. Bobfish King in South says, woohoo, finally going to buy some cheap X, get my average break-even price down. Nice one, Blobfish King. Awesome. Yeah, if you hadn't seen yesterday's live stream, our second live stream yesterday, we covered dollar cost averaging at where there's profit opportunities. And it's a great way of lowering your average cost by a big country mile. So maybe if you bought it at 40 cents, you buy an equal US dollar value now, and you bring your break even down to maybe super low, maybe 7-8 cents in the example that we gave on that video. So definitely check that out. Nice there. Bob says, nice. I've been buying like crazy the last 2 weeks. And Brazil says, and we're back. Yes, we're not live, but we are back. And we're back, says Maddie. Like it. Mixed Crypto Arts in the house there. Cheers, champ. Good to see you, Mixed Crypto Arts. And Bob Wells with the shades looking dudish. Hex Biker says, hey, from the UK. Good morning, all. Hey, Hex Biker, great to see you in the house there. Mixed Crypto Art says, crypto educator extraordinaire. You're relentless, mate. Relentless, says Mixed Crypto Art. Hey, just playing my role in the community. And of course, we're going to not stop, man. We're not going to stop. We're just going to keep going and going and going. HP is in house there. Woohoo! Hello, everybody. Legislation on crypto regulators introduced on June the 7th. Definition of commodities. What are security, stablecoins, NFT, and CBDC? Yeah, we'll look out for that. I was aware of that coming up. What's up, Hex Token Socials in the house there? Good to see you, Socials. Been a little while. But good to see you in the chat. Big changes will come soon. Great outlook for RH ecosystem, and could be dark for everyone else. That's true. Jesse's got some adding to the conversation here. Remember, total supply of LUSD floats same direction as the market cap of ETH. That's right. Launching at the bottom is best, and obviously launching at the beginning of PulseChain too. Everything gets priced up from zero. So with the PLS as the asset backing behind USDL, I agree. Jesse says, Bob. I was thinking, do you guys have a plan to peg USDL token, or will it happen naturally? That's part of the algo, which we saw in the video that we played. Paul says, couldn't USDL be the first $1 token on PulseChain? Yeah. And of course, Jesse says the peg is maintained by a simple redemption mechanism, which we watched on a video that I played of Jesse. Each USD can always be redeemed for $1 worth of PLS. This way, as ratio and pools move price, there's always an incentive to buy it back to the dollar. Neil and Barara's in the house there. Yay, made it to the live show. Big shout out to its Nano and Superman hard work. Yes, Nano does amazing job on the chat here on Gen Hex channel, and also in Discord as well. So he's helped onboard so many people with not only just onboarding but security as well. He's just fantastic. Bob was in the house. Okay, nice. He's Human Hex Traffic in the house there. What up, family? Hey, good to see you in the house too. And we've got quite a few people coming in. I haven't seen as much lately, but it's good to see them in the house. What else there? Tails 7 says Jesse could stop a world war with his chill. Yeah, he's one smooth dude. He could definitely do that. So true. Yeah. I'm glad I sacked hard in liquid loan, said Bob Wells. Yeah, I think everyone's pretty excited. And obviously they had the biggest sacrifice. I think it was 51.6 million US dollars, and they've got just a world-class team they put together as well. Full of superstars, so it really is good. Bodes well for PulseChain, man. If we had 10 teams like that, it'd be pretty outstanding. We do have a couple of teams up at that level. At least let's say 2 or 3, I would say, up kind of near there. I definitely think they're leading the pack in any case. Hi, Klaus in the house there. XPLSD says woohoo from Thailand. A big shout out to Thailand. Man, I still got to go to Thailand, man. Some of those, the nature in Thailand is just amazing. So definitely got to go there. What have I missed, guys? Liquid line sack done. Woohoo! Yeah, well, that's what's due to come up. We've talked about that a couple times. I played the video a couple times, so I'm not going to play that again today. We have played it like 3 or 4 times of Jesse talking about the liquid line sacrifice coming up. So that is still due Monday or Tuesday. We're still within that time frame. So we'll see how that goes. We've got sacrifices coming up. Matt's going to do a video on that, and of course we've got the user interface testing coming up too. I'm not sure whether that will come out at the same time or come out maybe another week later or so, but we'll find out about that in due course. Smash the like button, says A1. Absolutely, smash that like button and hit the bell. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Hex PLSD says liquid loans looks like it's going to be good. I honestly, I think it's setting the tone. I think it's setting the leadership that we need. We need this professional leadership in environment, and not only that, but obviously it's not just the product, but it's also the team that's going to get us over there. So very exciting. What else have we got there? Hello, Hex Patel. Hope you're well. That's very nice, Bob. Love K4K's Don't Buy Hex video. Yeah, that's funny. We played that earlier today, Neil. We could play that now, actually. Let's play that now, just so you can see that. It's a pretty funny video. So that's from K4K. Let's play it.
Hex went up 500%, and then it crashed down 40%. And then another time, Hex went up 10,000%, and then it crashed down 56%. And then another time, Hex went up 450%, and then it crashed minus 75%. Then another time, Hex went up 13,400%, and then it crashed 87%. Moral of the story is, don't buy Hex, because you know it's going to crash.
Yeah, that was a pretty funny video, and obviously it's taken off. You know, the one time at Bandcamp, it's like that. That's pretty hilarious. So, pretty shout out to K4K for that. It was pretty funny. Where we're up to? I think we're up to. Jesse says, 1 or 2 days for the sack balances from the looks of it. So very exciting. Thanks, Jesse, for popping that in there. 1 or 2 days, that would make people pretty excited. That does keep us within that Monday, Tuesday scenario there. So a big shout out. Bob Wells says, Hex Token visit the Big Buddha in Phuket will change your life. Says, well, I'm not sure if it will change my life, but as I'm a Christian, but I'll definitely I enjoy the culture and the heritage there, so I'll definitely check that out, Bob. Hex PLSD says, hey Bob, all good, buddy. How's things? Yeah, going good. All right, so we're going to get into some of Richard Hart's stuff there, and he posted up a second video here with what is it? With the Highest of Stakes movie. So we're definitely going to check that out. So let's play that. We got this video in, so I'm going to try and add this in now.
That's the biggest truck I've ever seen. What the fuck? Wow. We're driving the baddest monster truck you ever seen in your life. Most monster trucks, they got 2 wheels in the front that turn. This one's got 4. 4 54-inch wheels turning in the front, another 4 in the back. This is an 8-wheel monster truck. It took 5 years to build. It's got a 6.6 liter single turbo diesel engine running 25 pounds of boost with a Allison 1000 gearbox 6-speed. This is a bad bitch. If the global zombie apocalypse or pandemic is coming to rain on your parade, this here will get you out of trouble. But it's not so good for getting McDonald's. It's really hard to get around now. It's good for bumping your head and stealing fish.
That's pretty badass. That's going to look pretty good inside the documentary, if you ask me. So that looks really, really good. I hope you guys can see with all this professional level stuff happening, we're going to get a lot of things lining up in the future. It's going to be really good with so many professional teams like this, the Highest Stakes, Form Crew, Liquid Loans teams like that. We're going to end up with some pretty cool stuff there. It's going to be interesting to see how they edit a lot of the stuff. Like we're getting probably some teasers here, but they're probably going to edit certain things in a certain way for the actual form documentary. So it's quite nice to see some of these teasers in any case. So very cool. We've also got something coming up for PulseChain on there too. So I'm going to play that in a second. So that was the update, latest update from Richard Hart there. So we're going to close out of that. And of course, we're going to get into the price here on Hex, because Hex has had a little mini pump, just a little baby one, as Richard would say, little baby one. So we're going to get into that as well. So let's have a quick look here. Mr. Froz in the house there. Good morning, sir. A big shout out, Mr. Froz from India. Always appreciate you dropping in. Calcutta, India. Big shout out. And We've got two regular watchers from Calcutta, India, so appreciate that. Sandeep as well. Bob Wells in house there. Mrs. Thailand, says Bob. Yeah, it's a beautiful place. I've seen lots of documentaries on Thailand. It's pretty sad, eh? I've seen a lot of documentaries. I haven't actually been there, but it's pretty fun. Definitely want to go see that place. People under 25 don't care about a guy in his 50s buying expensive toys. Says Andrea, they think it's cringe. Well, once the highest of stakes edit these videos, I'm sure it's going to look pretty amazing. Bob Wells says, is there going to be any movie we haven't seen yet? Says Bob. I'm not sure, man. I don't think so. We're just about up to it. They've got 7 parts, 7 teasers. I think that was number 4? I think it was number 4. So we've got 3 more teasers coming up there. Neil says the highest stakes will be a 4 more series. Now, this is the thing, Neil. They have, I think they did flirt with one post around possibly a series. So, we obviously got Hex. They're doing this series on Hex. But of course, imagine if it launched around PulseChain. Richard has, some degree of control over that, subject to his devs and the progress there. But that could be a pretty interesting seeing possibly a series, and man, that would look pretty good on a streamer. Obviously, they've got to have negotiations with these, Netflix and Disney or whoever else they're negotiating with, and they show what they've got. Obviously, these guys are Emmy Award winning, so it's going to be pretty interesting. The end game. The cool thing I like about the videos, though, at the end of the teasers, is that they say it will be out late 2022. And that's really, really, really great. So hey, the upside's huge, though. If they do get land one of those streamers, that's huge exposure. So looking forward to it. Grand Prix says that's just me doing my bit for PulseChain. Important we all spread the word. Absolutely, Grand Prix. Spread the word. That's why I say just about every day, get out there and spread the word. You can do it simply just by telling a friend or doing a little mail drop in your local block. That's it's easy peasy to do. All right, so let's get into some of that stuff just to make sure I've got up to scratch on everything here. Yep, we got one more there. So we're going to get into the price at the moment. So we talked about this pretty in full this morning on the first live stream, the price of Hex. So we're just going to zoom in where it is at the moment. And of course, we're getting a nice little green candle forming here. 5.3 cents, which is nice after having 5 days in a row of red candles. We're finally getting a little green candle. This is going to help our 13 EMA as well. We close green, and especially if we close green tomorrow, this is what we want to see. This is one of our TA or technical analysis signposts that we're having a trend reversal. And of course, you can see how good this particular signpost is. With the yellow line, there's the 30 moving EMA. And of course, the red line there is the 50% price range in the Bollinger Band. And of course, when it crosses, we see the price do a trend reversal and off it goes for a little while. Now, we don't know how the top of that is, but in this one here, we see it back again, crossover there. So we can actually see we've got a gap here. So the downtrend's still in play. But of course, we've got a nice good green candle, and the transition between this can sometimes take a day or two, maybe 3 or 4 days to see the crossover when it does crossover. So you can see here, it was quite a long one here, crossing in over here. Took 4 or 5 days, but sometimes it can be a lot faster than that. So here you can see a crossover was pretty fast. So it does give us a bit of a signpost to where things are going as it converges there, as obviously the price action is driving the EMA up, reflecting more recent prices there on the 13-day moving average. So cool. We are going to keep watching this, and this is the start. Maybe there's a start of something good. Obviously, people have still got their limit orders down at 4 cents, 3 cents, 2 cents, 1 cent. People still got their limit orders there, hoping for that volume upsize. Obviously, every cent that goes down, you get a massive volume boost there. And of course, the retail book is really the one that's been buying a lot of this stuff, right? So, hats off to the retail book. That's the way it is. Hex is getting distributed amongst more people. Now, there's a multi-year process. This doesn't happen in one day, but events like this, where we have this major pullback, this is definitely when the retail book starts to get, redistribute a lot of the larger holders from earlier days who sell out for whatever reasons. It gets distributed to more and more people over time. And of course, if you're growing your the number of people in your retail book, and you've got people currently in your retail book that are buying, so you've got existing buyers buying more, new buyers buying more, you can see how that really filters out faster and faster over time. So it's pretty good. And of course, that evens out the the volatility over time will even out as well. But of course, the upside can be impacted sometimes depending on who's selling down at the particular time. Now, obviously, having staking is really powerful in Hex 2, getting all that supply off, but we're still early days. We just passed the 2.5 year mark. So we're still, got quite a few years to go. I'd say 4 or 5 years before we start getting, a bit more stability in there. But definitely, 4 or 5, I should say. So we'll definitely watch out for that. And that's of course when I'm expecting the next early end stakes there, with some of the big paydays getting spread out. I saw a comment on Twitter actually, someone saying, man, a lot of these early end stakes that we've seen, I guess even since all the big all the sacrifice periods, we've seen so many early end stakes. They were saying, man, so many people are burning up their big paydays. Obviously 50% goes to the OA account, and then everyone else gets the 50%. All the new people getting all these big paydays that they didn't get because they're getting redistributed at least 50% of. It's pretty fascinating, right? It's fun times to see that. Obviously in proportion to the amount of T-shares they hold, but still pretty cool. It's a cool mechanism in Hex. All right, so that's where we're at the moment, looking quite good, quite fine on here with the old doji candle there. So that's what's going on at the moment. So we can see it on the hourly chart even better. There's on the hourly now. We can see just to move up there, we bounced down to 4.37 cents. That was earlier in the live stream. Now the previous live stream it did was back here. We were about just under 5 cents. So we've just gone up just a tiny bit there. It's really is small, but it's nice to see the green rather than the red there at the moment. Obviously, if you've got limit orders in like myself, then you're not going to get hit at this stage, but of course, we don't know when PulseChain's coming. We don't know whether Hex will decouple from PulseChain a little bit, and we'll get some buying that sort of says, well, we don't know when PulseChain's coming, so let's just behave on Hex like we normally would behave, and we'll just start buying or selling Hex without thinking much about PulseChain. So we may have to get that little decoupling idea going as well. Let me know in the chat what you think about that. The other thing, of course, is Hedron. Hedron has had, really has hit the bottom at the moment of this thing. So is this the bottom? Question mark. I say that cautiously. But 500 is where we've been at the moment. 460 is our low, all-time low at the moment on Hedron. And there's obviously attention, as I said previously, attention that's focused on Maxi and Pulse Dodge coin. And of course, Maxi had a nice little pump here in volume, which means that the premium must have gone from 65. What we at 65 earlier in the live stream today, 65, something like that, 66. Yeah, look at this. That candle pumped Maxi premium to 81. My goodness, on the daily candle there, and the low is 68. Yeah, we were at 68 before, not 65. We're at 68 if one looks at it. So we're up to 75 at the moment. Maxi performing like a boss, and of course, I think some people preferring it over the underlying asset of Hex as well. So if Hex is moving up a little bit, maybe they decide, well, I'm going to go for Maxi and push that premium higher. So that's pretty interesting. Let's look at the hourly on the old Maxi. There's that pump just in the last 2 hours. So we were pretty much sitting at 68 pretty much most of the time. And then we had a big volume pump there. And now we're up at 75% premium with 88. Was it? Did I say 88? Yeah, 81%. Man, that's so good. Like I said, I still hold to my thing that, 200-300% would be kind of the maximum for me. But then as time goes on, and I'm talking about years, you can never know. Probably that 1/3 milestone might be the max premium, 1/3 of the life cycle. Interesting. Maybe 50%, maybe 60%. I'm going to have to think more about that. Let me know your thoughts on that. But obviously, the treasury is building up Hex every single day, and Hedron at a 4x multiplier. So fascinating. The other big thing, of course, is Pulse Dodge. Woo! It's come off. It's come off the edge there. The high today was $3.96. There's been a bit of drama around the streets as well. Unfortunate drama, I think, although I try to keep out of it. But there's been drama on the streets around Pulse Dodge with the Whale Cartel or something like that. So we'll see where it's heading at the moment. This was I think this was the first issue here. And then, of course, we just had the second one here. But the top whales, last time we checked this morning, early this afternoon, my time, they were still intact. They were largely intact. So not sure it was a slightly smaller wallet, say a sub 45,000 wallet that was selling. Hadn't checked that. Now, just because we see top wallets doesn't mean that there's not other wallets associated to those wallets. So if you want to spend all your life doing chain analysis, you could probably keep a pretty good tab of that. But some of us got better things to do. And of course, there we are at the moment at $3.63. So still holding up really well, but definitely off the next move. It's got to, I guess, keep their energy up in terms of going forward. Still a long way to go for the what did we say, 55 days, I think, to go for the launch phase. I think the gains will really start beginning. Maybe when we get to day 65, 70, we might start getting some real game on there. Be interesting to see whether it is able to ratchet up every, say, 5-10 days or something. It seems to be ratcheting up just about every day these days, but how long it can keep the momentum up is the other thing as well. So food for thought there. Let me know in the chat there what you think about that. And on that note, we're going to have a look at a bit of PulseChain. So we've got PulseChain, obviously, and the block explorer is still ticking away there on version 2B. And Richard gave us a bit of a video earlier on that, so we're going to quickly look at that. This was another interview with him, so we're definitely going to look at that. Hey, we've got Miles of Cryptos in the house there. What's up, Mexican fam? Hey, good to see you, Miles. And Bob Wells with the emojis, looking good. We're going to play this video here on PulseChain with Richard Hart, so I'm going to post this in. We played this. This came out a bit earlier.
Security. Perfect security. You have a ratio between the amount of effort you put into being secure and the amount of effort that people are using to attack you. And then you have what's called attack surface. The more places that you have to secure, the less secure a thing is. Hex was more easy to secure than a lot of things because it has a limited number of functions, and most of those functions timed out. So for instance, if there was a flaw in the referral program, that doesn't exist anymore. So it doesn't matter. If there was a flaw in the adoption amplifier, it doesn't exist anymore. It doesn't matter. And so by restricting the number of functions and making the code immutable so that it can never change, it allowed us to be extremely secure, which is why we've never had an inflation bug. We're extremely resistant to inflation bugs, but Bitcoin's had several inflation bugs. Monero's had an inflation bug. XLM's had an inflation bug. Ravencoin's had an inflation bug. Coins have inflation bugs, which basically means you can mint as many free coins as you want all the time, but my coin doesn't. It's a superior design. Now, PulseChain, we're using the most secure software that's out there already, which is Ethereum. It's never had an inflation bug. And we're fixing a lot of things. The code that is Ethereum isn't perfect, and we're making it better than what we got.
Yeah, so that's a pretty cool, another bit of insight. It's the most recent insight that we've seen around PulseChain from him in terms of his view on the PulseChain there. So I thought it was pretty nice. All right, cool. Let's jump back to, we're going to jump over to the actual PulseX at the moment. Now, I've been showing this a couple of times with the validators here. We haven't had any, I think that we've had any sacrifice checker update. I think we've still got the 15th of May. Yeah, still 15th of May, so no update there on that one. So that's still the last one. And that's looking pretty good, actually. I think that version is looking pretty good for the sacrifice. On the trade, of course, we've been doing the harvesting here, and I've been harvesting the farm that we've got on PulseX, PulseX Pulse farm at the moment. And of course, man, look at that. Woohoo! 1,000 buckaroos. The problem is that the price of PulseX and Pulse has been going down, and the value I put into the pool has gone down. Was it $300,000-$400,000? I think I'm down at 562 now, but I've still got my 96 million PulseX Pulse LP tokens. But they're worth, they've gone down like $300,000-$400,000 in like a couple of days. So that's not, I wouldn't be too happy if this was real, but this is just fake. So it's not the end of the day. So people sometimes ask, is the PulseX numbers real? Well, I can just tell you that you'd have to double think again before putting that man in at this stage, obviously depending on which price direction the prices are going in. But anyway, I've made 11.296 incentive tokens, and they're worth $1,000 bucks. So we're going to harvest those now. I've been harvesting them every day and then reinvesting them, compounding them into more tokens. It's just the way, that's what people are going to do, right? They're going to do this sort of thing. So it's good to go through it. And not many people playing on the PulseX at the moment, obviously with just waiting for PulseChain. And a lot of people have done that. People that were going to do it have pretty much done it. And of course, there probably will be project teams that are playing on there that are doing stuff with their development. So that's cool. We've managed to do that. And of course, there we are, harvested. Look at that. Your INC tokens have been sent to your wallet, which is pretty cool. So we're going to have a quick look at that. We're going to expand the MetaMask there, check our assets. And of course, we've got PulseX still. We've got some there. We've just got the incentive tokens just gone to the wallet there, 11.35. Nice. So that's pretty cool. That's called a deposit ticket, which is actually a withdrawal. I don't know. That's just the way it goes. That's what they called it there. And we're going to we can then take that and go and exchange that if we want. We can either speculate. I actually think that a lot of people with the LP farmers that will come onto PulseChain, and they will come like a like, what do you call it, like a just can't think of it, like a village raid, as it were, that we're coming. And of course, it'll be after the incentive token. It could actually be one of the ones that does pretty well, that people might get a little surprised by. But yeah, let's watch that. So we're going to pick up that token. I need some more PLS, so I'm going to have to flip it. I've got plenty of PLSX, I should say, but I need to get more PLS. So I'm going to flick that from PLS. So let's see what I'm going to get there. I'm going to get 192,000 PLS. And I know many of you are going to do this when PulseChain launches, right? You guys are going to be, if you are doing any way you get any other tokens, you're going to be flipping a PLS or PLSX or something, maybe Hex or something. But we're going to confirm that, and away we go. I'm going to close that, and we're going to pick up that PLS. So cool. This is our reinvestment plan for passive income. So cool. We got there's our 192,000 there in Pulse. We go to our wallet there. They're showing up in our wallet. Nice. They show up there, but I think it's because I've had this on Ethereum, so I might just change it back to Ethereum, and then I might push it back to PulseX just to refresh those. There we are. TPLS there. That's got the right thing on there at the moment. Cool. So we're going to go back, and now we're going to add more liquidity. So we're going to top our liquidity up there with those incentive tokens that we turn to the Pulse. So we're going to take our Pulse that we've got, and we're going to take our PulseX because we've got plenty of PulseX left. And we're going to take that. We're going to leave one Pulse, of course, because we need some for our. We need one Pulse for our 1,300 transactions that we're going to be able to do with it, which is pretty badass. So we're going to switch that. So we only need 622 PulseX, but basically I got $1,000 from my incentive token that turned to Pulse. Going to add it with another $1,000 of my PulseX I got spare. That's a small part of the liquidity pool. But by adding liquidity, you'll earn 0.22% of all trades on this pair, proportional to your share of the pool. So that's pretty neat. So remember that 76% of 0.29%, which is the absolute percentage of trade fee, which is competitive, is going to go to LP providers. So that's that 22% absolute. Remember the buy and burn absolute is, I think it's around 24% of 0.29%, which equates to about 0.07%. And of course, they changed those numbers around. Remember, they're originally slightly lower, 0.06%, or 20, was it 21? Yeah, I think 21. So cool. That is the number. So we're going to confirm that supply, provide our liquidity to the pool, and so people can trade their hearts out with their heart's content. So we're going to do that. I'm just going to edit the gas fee there, and it's going to cost me a fraction of a test pulse there. Cool. And it's asking me to switch again. I don't need to switch. I'm going to confirm that, and that should take this out. So we've got activity. Oh, we've got activity. Add liquidity to ETH. So that's what we just did. This is the transaction on the blockchain, on PulseChain. So we're just doing that. I put it on fast too. So I put it on fast, 3-second blocks. Now remember, when PulseChain launches, we're going to start with 3 validators. So it's going to be slower than 3-second blocks. So this when you've told your friends and they come over and they go, wait a minute, this is like 13-second blocks here. What's going on? You go, well, it's just because we've got 3 validators. Just come back in a couple of days. We're going to slowly ramp up those validators. And of course, Dave Feder told us that it takes maybe 2 days or 3 days or something like that to upload all the code and get the thing synced up and connected. And of course, they ramp up the validators one after another, up to 33 validators. They need to be in rotation, going through confirming the blocks with all the transactions in them on the blockchain. So that's where we're going to end up. So it's going to ramp up within probably 1 or 2 weeks. We'll start ramping up there. We have seen that with the testnet before, where it's ramped up in terms of the TPS per second, so transaction per second. All right, so what that means is that we've added the liquidity, but now we've got some new LP tokens. So we go to our assets and we'll see our LP. That's our LP tokens there for Pulse. So we've got 346,000. We can now take that and go back to the farms. and of course we can add that in. Now, obviously, Power City is coming up with some products around this. So what they got there, they're going to have one for liquid loans. Looks like they're possibly going to have one for the PulseX. So in terms of compounding, so I think it's going to be pretty neat seeing some of that. See how it all adds that extra value. The power compounding, right? That's the key play. If you can play that really well, that's one of the key components of making good returns. So we're going to go and add in our extra PLP. We've got 94 million. We're going to add another 346,000. We're going to confirm that, and of course, it gives us a calculator. You can play around with that. Typically the day, the near-term date, the calculator is probably reasonably a good indication, depending on how much LP is flooding in. But as you go further out, these calculators get way out of whack, right? So just take that into account. Just be cautious with relying on that. So cool. We're going to confirm that on the blockchain. It's going to cost us a fraction of a T-pulse, man. 0.00075. So it just shows you one T-pulse is massive, right? So let's take one pulse divided by that amount, 0.00075. That's 1,333 transactions for that particular price. That can vary, of course, depending on what you're doing, contract interactions, stuff like that, but that's pretty cool. I actually forgot to click that, so I need to approve. So that's ticking away in the blockchain, transaction submitted. And of course, we can see that on our activity in our wallet as well. So this is our Play wallet here. And damn, that's happened there. Bam, it's gone. So our LP tokens have gone out of here. Look, they've gone. Woohoo! Nice. And yes, staked. Your funds have been staked on the farm. So that's it. And so now we've just topped that up there. Still got just over 96 million now with that amount, 564,000 US dollars on test pulse here. Obviously, it's not real. Just remember, it's just what we've got on there. And APR, or the annual percentage returns, kind of like a flat interest rate, 65.39%. You might see APY, it's kind of like a compounded interest rate. So you might see the difference there. Slight differences as you might see in traditional debt financing, say in the USA, where they have fees and other things in there. Let's take that into account. So let's have a look at the market prices at the moment on PulseX. It's always good to come back here. I've been coming back here the last couple of days just to refresh ourselves of what's coming up. We've got Pulse pulled back 2.62%, and of course PulseX down 3.75. Prices have really come back here as well. Now we've got Hex $4.51. Actually, that's done pretty well. I probably would have been better just to speculate on Hex at that stage rather than going to LP pools. But then that way you're not earning incentive tokens. So I don't know. What we earned about $5,000 incentive tokens, but I think we're down on our portfolio value about 300,000-400,000, something like that. So that's just the way it goes. It is not real. It's unrealized, of course, because we haven't closed our position out. So obviously, if the prices bounce back, we should be fine. But just take into account those impermanent losses at the moment. Which is a kind of fundamental thing. If you're going to do liquidity provision, you're good to understand that pretty well. Now, if you have assets that move together, pretty good. Assets that are reasonable, stable, and price are pretty good in terms of avoiding that, like stable coins and things. You got to have the right stable coins, though, right? So just remember that. If you'd had Terra Luna, for example, USD, you would have been in a bit of trouble. They're like massive trouble. All right, so cool. I'm just having a quick look here to see whether there's any other new tokens that popped up here. We saw 2 or 3 the other day when we checked. Can't see any on the leaderboard here at the moment. Bitely there, I'm not sure what that one is, or Bitey I should say. What the heck's happened there with the PulseX analytics there? Marshall Rogan Inu. Let me know if you guys know what that is. I haven't seen that one before. Pulse Lab, I think we might have seen that yesterday. And then that's it. And Internet Money sitting there in the top 30 there, so people have been trading those. Very cool. We're going to have a quick look at the volume. Volume, as I say, has been pretty low. We had a couple of days there, picked up there to 300 million. Today it's 23 million so far, and yesterday was 100 million. So that's pretty small. Maybe what's that, $70,000 of buy and burn value there yesterday. So that's why the buy and burn's not increasing that big. But we should have hit 50 billion on the burn. Now 49.56 billion. We're getting so close to 50 billion, but there we are, 49.56 billion there on the buy and burn. And of course, on Twitter, there is a buy and burn bot for PulseX, so you can get notifications on that on Twitter if you want to do that. Pretty cool. think that's pretty much that. So we're going to jump out of the PulseX there. It's always good to jump back. We're going to have one little look at the GitLab where the devs work, at least their public folders. And you can see not much activity in there at the moment. So all the work is behind the scenes. It's pretty much so cool. And jump out of there. And if you haven't joined Discord, don't forget the links in the video description. And it was very, very cool today. We got up to level 2 on Discord, so we've got heaps of more perks there. I've still got to put it in a banner. I'll be trying to do that after the live stream, put the banner in. Maybe I'll use the one I made yesterday. So we'll see that. But if you haven't joined, we're 21 members away from 500 members. So if you want to be one of those members, join in. We've got cool community and cool information. As I say, we've got a couple of YouTube channels that are in here, Gen Hex, Heinz Crypto, Hex Token. And of course, you get notifications from those channels on YouTube and Twitter. There's also useful links, which I think is going to be the ultimate list anywhere in terms of getting the best websites. So you can see we've got all the ecosystem stuff here. I've got a lot more to add, and we'll reorganize this once I've finished adding them. But they're all in there really, really good. Also, video tutorials if you want to learn how to do Pulse Bridge, like we're just playing around with the PulseX. We've got that there too. Just 2 to 5 minute long is really easy to do. We've got the general chat for Richard Hart, the price chats, and non-crypto chats. So everything about Richard Hart that you can get in there. And of course, if you're into PulseChain projects that are on there, we've got new token chat projects there, so you can talk about new projects. And of course, all the links to most of the projects that are on there. We keep a couple off that we think are a little bit dodgy. But apart from that, some of these may or may not perform well, but that's different from being dodgy. That's just unfortunate. And some days you got to, do your investment due diligence on those. Pretty much. We've also got a private chat for Hex Token channel members, and of course you get a purple name if you're a member on YouTube here. You get the join button there. We've got PulseChain, Hexkins, Richard Hart Club there. 3 different memberships on YouTube, and of course you get a purple name on the chat there as well. So very, very cool. Heinz, what's that? It's now, of course, is pretty much our community superhero. Heinz, it's now can often help you with the onboarding and security and stuff like that as well. Very cool. All right, so that was pretty much it. Let's jump back to the charts there. Hex at almost 5.3 cents. Hedron at 5.14, making a little bit of recovery there. Maxi got pumped pretty good, up to 9.2 cents, and Pulse Dodge sitting around $3.62, waiting for the next move. Who knows what that will be? But that's where it's at. Let's jump away, and of course, I need to come to the comments. Probably far behind now, but we'll have a quick look. Let's see what we're up to here. Jump through some of these. I think we're up to that there. Miles Chris says, "What's up, mate?" I thought we're up to there. So, not many comments. That's pretty amazing. I've never seen so few comments ever in the live stream. So that's pretty awesome. Woohoo! I hope you guys enjoyed that. We're going to probably wrap up here. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, hit the bell, and I will catch you guys tomorrow. 2 more live streams: PulseChain, PulseX, and Hex, of course. And I'll post the links to the presentation after the video here as well, so you can get access to that. I'll catch you next time. Hope you guys have a good night. I'm going to grab myself some dinner and probably get out for a walk, a late walk actually, even out in the cold. I'll probably go for a late walk out there and get the heart pumping, as it were. All right, take care, everybody. I'm going to sign off now. Don't forget, if you're Hex Token channel member, of course, you know how we roll on this channel. Smash out the emojis on the way out, and I will catch you then. Woohoo! Lots to look forward to. And as Jesse said, 1 or 2 days, we could have the SAC balances for PulseChain. So that's going to be the next big thing for sure. Okay, says smash those likes, absolutely. And of course, thanks for the stream, says Chance Nicely. Night all, says Katie. Night everyone, says Bob. Thanks, Hex Token, says Briz on the beach. Briz on the beach. I'm gonna get in trouble now. Bob Wells in there with the emojis, nice there. And Hex downloaded with the Superman. All right, cool. Let me post a few emojis myself. We're gonna rock out though. We're gonna rock out with Power City Core coming up. We're gonna rock out with that. Why not? Let's do it. Let's rock out with Power City Core. I'm gonna have to bring it in though. Let's have a look. We're gonna rock out with Power City Core. Where are you, Power City Core? Come on, bring on down. Come on down, Power City Core. Here we go. Boom. Boom. Boom.